dreamed last night of you. We moved so fast down the open road, it felt like time was slowing down. And so I said we'll be here now. Now is all we need. Early in the morning when the sun came up, you said, feel a part of everything.
The bigger picture is not only a unique headland, a lighthouse and a wreck in town and a party program and sex, drugs and rock and roll, but overcoming that consciousness of the initial impact of what Byron Bay offers any tourist and enjoying the natural beauty of the environment is when you're really starting to discover Byron. For any surfers coming here like I did in the late 60s and the early days of Byron's history, it was too good to leave. So consequently, we're still here.
This is the Rainbow region where the rainbow people or light beings have come together. People that sought out more pure existence and something that was beyond the structural 9-to-5 job came to this area to be part of some new movement, some new grounding on the earth, which was going to be full of light and joy and love.
The Aquarius Festival that was in the region that brought some alternate thinking people from universities and from the cities to this region and set it on its path along with the surfers of being an alternative community.
Byron's always attracted, unique individuals here, not just your average person who wanted a job in the meatworks, hippies and adventurers and surfers and the whole mix, but the creative people also. Look at the success of Blues Fest for over 20 years. The Arts Factory in its early days, where it had performing international bands playing Sydney, Brisbane and Byron Bay. They were the locations.
I've been told how to live, I've been shown how to die. Don't believe what you're told, don't go wasting your time. I've been told how to live, I've been shown how to die. Don't believe what you're told, don't go wasting your time. Hey!
I think one of the reasons why Byron is such a creative community, or there is such a creative hub here, is because they're very interested in, a way of living that is creative. It's no different than going to the art supply shop and, getting yourself canvases and paints. You go there to get your instruments. I think a lot of people come here, to get that broader instrument, which is their society. So even if you're not sitting around cafe tables or talking about art, there is that sense of productivity or, purposefulness towards the arts, which is very apparent here, and it does create an energy which is really charming.
We have records of Byron's history from early settlers that came here and discovered the Big Scrub.
This whole area was just covered with cedar, which went back to Europe for furniture.
The wreck in Byron Bay at Main Beach is the SS Wollongbar that got wrecked in the earlier history of the ship days.
And the Wollongbar was the means of transport to get the stuff down to the cities. Get the stuff onto the pier, get it onto the Wollongbar, 2 days down to Sydney, get it out into the markets. That's the way that Byron grew really well as a port.
The cedar logging was the first start to country being changed forever. The early settlers would use our people to get around the Big Scrub and to cut down these trees. So yeah, we're used as cheap labour and for our knowledge. So you can imagine our people were totally taken away from being living on country and being a part of country to actually working and, destroying country.
Julian Rocks has been around for a lot longer than we have, and you can only imagine what it's seen in that time, but there are a lot of Dreamtime stories surrounding it as well. And in Byron Bay there's a lot to do with Aboriginal culture. It's respected here and it's well known, and Julian Rocks is a part of that. One of the Aboriginal names for Julian Rocks is Nathangully, and it means Father of the World.
It's our Creator's place. It's where our Creator rests. He created all that you can see. The mountains, the rivers, the valleys. That's Nathangully. And we're bound to look after country.
It's just incredible that it lies right off the beach. You'd never expect it just by looking at it, what's under there.
The community's done really well in being out there with products and produce at community markets. It's been a really strong push for localisation.
It means you can source out to support the local people with their livelihoods, so that when people are spending money in the area, they can spend money and support people's creative arts or what they've grown or their small businesses. Everyone that's visiting Byron will go to the different markets to meet all different types of people, and if not just look at them, and be entertained. And that's the other gorgeous thing, that there is a certain tolerance amongst locals and a lot of people living in the area for everyone to express who they need to express themselves, be themselves, just be.
One of the measures of a quality of life is the characters that it draws. I think also too, you end up in a lot of places geographically where people are there because they're there. They grew up there or circumstance took them there. I think there are a lot of people that have made this place a destination.
The local community you become a part of when you choose to live your Byron dream is part of the main attraction. Other than the surf and the environment, they have a collective attitude to want to preserve what they've come to enjoy. So it's a responsible management, eco-tourism scenario, unlike the Gold Coast or Waikiki or Kuta Beach or anywhere else, which transforms a beautiful destination into a disaster area.
Byron Shire is different because back in the 80s there was a council of enlightened people, forward-thinking people who thought to protect the natural environment. They put a limit on development height, which is probably one of the most important things there is, the fact that the town centres have a limit of 3 stories, residential areas have 2 stories. That means that it's not an out-of-character scale of living. People feel comfortable with a small scale. Any development that was proposed that was deemed unacceptable ended up in basically a T-shirt, a car sticker and a protest. So Byron ended up with a bit of a reputation for being a difficult community, which I think we're all pretty proud of. Yes, we're difficult because we're not going to be run over by capitalism and commercialism. It's not about the money, it's about the quality of life. Byron is now about preserving and protecting the nature, the whales. I love the fact that it's the opposite, and it's funny that the town has, without meaning to do it, I suppose, corrected those things from the past. The images of the whales being slaughtered down in Byron Bay town just in the 60s, you know, as recently as that, it's quite shocking.
It's been slow takeover, you know, like we didn't see many whales here in the 60s. Just as the towns discovered whales, you know, through the 90s it got really big. You know, we started seeing a lot more in the water.
You can go down the beach at any given afternoon after school and you'll see there's so many kids and the parents are down there, you know, whether they ride stand-up paddleboards or mals or shortboards. Even the mums are surfing, like, all the time. I think surfing in general is just pure feeling that you can't get from anything else. Yeah, you just feel real, without going too deep, you just feel real in touch with the ocean, and I think I feel more comfortable in the water than what I do on the land.
The modern history of Byron Bay's growth and its international tourist destination status came about from surfers. The surfers find it, and then as a result of them being clever enough to go out there and discover all these jewels littered around the planet, other people follow, and it seems to grow from there. And there's many examples around the world of a similar outcome.
Remember that all the locals were workers. They either worked first in the whaling station, or that became the meat works. Meantime, the mineral sands was functioning in town as well, and later on the chicken ranch got going, and Norco, so it was an industrial town.
But it was a tough little town. There was, you know, you had to get along with the sergeant. Was if he didn't like you, it wasn't a very comfortable place to hang out. And if you were smart alecky with him and you know, had the wrong attitude, you were certainly reminded of that quickly.
That particular incident, I came up on the train and went and put a little pup tent up at Wadigo's, and me and my mate from Sydney, and we'd been surfing out at Wadigo's, and we came in and the cop car came screaming down the old dirt road there at Wadigo's, pulled up next to us, and two cops jumped out, and one of them grabbed my mate by the hair and swung him around, and a fistful of hair came out of his head, and his head started bleeding. Chucked us both in the cop car, took my last 10 shillings, which like it's equal to $1 in those days, gave it to the barber and cut all my hair off into a quarter-inch crew cut, then kicked me out of town. He hated us coming to town and wrecking what he had going, which was, he had it under control. Then we were the aliens, you know. We had, you know, long hair, no jobs.
People arriving in Byron Bay now have a whole different experience. It's not the quiet little town that it used to be, 40 years ago. They're still seduced by the lifestyle the place offers. It doesn't come with a guaranteed happy ending of find the place and get there any way you can and the golden path will open up for you for the happy ending. It's still a struggle to settle in and deal with the locals, who are people that have been here for 5 minutes longer than you have, and blend in and play a role in the growth of the area.
And there's a huge pressure for people to want to live here and to move here, and the same with the rest of the east coast of Australia. Naturally, that brings pressure in the form of dollars and desire to develop, etc. So I think Byron Bay survived pretty well, kept its integrity fairly well, but I call it crowded now, and I avoid the town a lot because it's just so busy. As many locals, you pick the eyes out of it as you want it, I mean, the coffee's great, which wasn't the case in the 60s and 70s. You had to drive to Lismore to get decent coffee in the 70s.
I suppose we want our visitors, people who come from all over the world, to, connect with country, appreciate it like we do, stop, listen, feel, and just be a part of it. The true name of Byron Bay is Cavanbar, and Cavanbar means meeting place. Why it's a meeting place is we'd invite other Bundjalung people to come and share when food was in abundance, marriages were set, resources were traded, and people would go back to their own country.
There's lots of small groups that meet on all different levels where they have lots of different interests, and it keeps it alive. And it's got to do a lot, I think, with storytelling. Some people share their stories here. And I'm pretty sure that's what used to happen down on those flats for thousands of years. People sat around a fire and they shared their stories.
The town's always had a welcoming approach to all sorts of cultures. It's great, a diverse pool of spiritual viewpoints and lifestyles. It's quite a town.
It's a place where people come and they go through their changes and they discover themselves, and I think it's about having an examined life.
You spend a certain amount of time here and, your reasons for wanting to be here, they become more and more apparent. You can attach yourself to certain qualities that perhaps you have to work so much harder for anyone else. They're just here. They're a byproduct of just being here.
So I know those hurricanes are coming, and I